What's Cooking Weekend Edition from Hollywood, California. Michael Horn, Paul Stern, thanks for joining us. Check out everything at our website, crntalk.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and now you can pick up the show on iTunes. It's a free download. Go to crntalk.com. All the information is there. Or go to iTunes and search for What's Cooking. You can download either the early edition with the Scarecrow and Mrs. King or the late edition here with yours truly, Michael Horn and Paul Stern. Check it out. The pictures will explain it all, especially on the Scarecrow and Mrs. King part. Now, also coming up on today's show this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, coming up late Sunday, I guess, in Cleveland, and the Cleveland Rock and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is there, and Drew Carey had the show where Cleveland rocks. And so they've got this new event coming up that's going to be continuing for a while called Cleveland Food Rocks, and they've got Chef Jam 2010. Should be good, Paul.
It should be very good. You know, that's kind of keeping with this theme of this latest trend, and I kind of noticed it up at the auction Napa Valley with Chef Octavio Becerra from Palette Food and Wine.
He was serving what you found to be scrumptious. I thought the entire item was delicious because he had it on like a fresh bread, and it had this olive oil from Round Pond on there and had lamb on it, but you just went and scarfed the lamb right off there.
I'm not talking about the cuisine. I'm talking about this trend.
Lamb heart, I believe it was, that you enjoyed immensely.
This latest trend of chefs with tattoos. I've been reading an article.
Talking about the food.
No, I'm talking about the chefs with tattoos, and there was a lot of ink on Mr. Becerra.
What did he have on that arm? He had like a big...
like a knife, like a carving knife.
So, and I thought because he had it on there, I mean, that he was developed so finely cut in training that he could actually use the back part of his arm as a knife and slice up cheese on a cutting board. But apparently I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, but this is the big trend. They got chefs all over the country now at some of our finest restaurants that are literally laden with ink. So that is something to be said. I don't know.
You complain about food. Not only does the chef come out fully tattooed, but he brings out all the sous chefs, and it's kind of like a gang, and then you just settle back down and say, oh, I thought it was delicious, and continue eating.
Hey, Jack, you think Julia Roberts had a child? Not Julia Roberts. Julia Child had a tattoo? Julia Roberts, well.
Back in that day, I don't believe tattoos were as prevalent as they are now.
If she did, we couldn't see it.
So, but here's a thought for you this weekend, and I like to bring this up on the weekend edition because a lot of our listeners are, like myself, pet lovers. And, the first family, especially the first lady, is trying to fight obesity in the school, cutting back on sugary drinks and that sort of thing, and trying to watch our weights and do what we can. We've had a lot of guests here on the show. Yeah, Julian Michaels is on TV every 2 seconds telling you to lose some tonnage. I mean, just leave me alone. Sure. And now, listen to this. Cats and dogs, they're popular in the last 20 years, but apparently that popularity has grown, so have the animals' bellies. And a lot of veterinarians are saying Americans are feeding their pets to death, and I believe that's the case, and they don't even know it. You ever see, I pride myself, while I may be a little portly on occasion, I tend to try to watch the weight of my dog. And that's why I like to just eat right in front of her all the time and just like pig out and say, I'm doing this for your health so you see what not to do. And so what they're saying now, they have a book out that was released earlier this year called Chow Hounds, and there's also a Pet Obesity Prevention Association, and they're calling it Kibble Crack and Calorie Grenades.
Oh, my.
They're saying that pet owners are confusing food with love in the dog world, and what the dogs want and the cats want most are interaction and affection. It's not a cry for food, it's a cry for attention. So when your dog comes to the table and places its head on your lap, it is not asking for food, it's asking for attention. I usually just pick the dog up and stick it right in the middle of the table in front of company and everything so they can admire my pet. I leave a big space in the center normally where you put like the turkey or the main course. There's a platter and things on it. Sometimes I surprise my guests by actually putting my dog underneath one of the covers, and then I go, voila.
Have you ever actually been at a dinner party where somebody who has a cat that actually allows their cat to walk across the dining room table?
And you know what? Dog owners don't do that, but it is true. You're right. Is that like the grossest thing ever? The cat walks everywhere, and they go, isn't that cute? And the cat's like walking right on your plate.
Yeah, and the cat actually seems to strut across the table in such a manner that really is very time-consuming, too.
And let me ask you a question. If that happens,
Oh.
Is it proper, I don't know, in the etiquette world, to take the back part of your left hand and just smack the cat off the table?
Some people actually at the end of a dinner party.
You get offended if you do that.
No. Some people actually at the end of an evening, rather than taking the plates to the dishwasher, they'll actually put the plates on the floor and allow the dog to kind of lap up whatever might remain.
Well, especially in Los Angeles during Antonio Villaraigosa, the mayor's water conservation, that was quite prevalent. So anyway, the size of our nation's cats and dogs, they say, has not gone unnoticed. Little toy poodles and things like that are like these huge mongrels right now. Have you seen them walking down the street? Actually, they've been terrorizing some of the wild coyotes in the neighborhood. Some of these animals are so big.
I actually saw a poodle chasing Jack Roberts earlier today.
It is getting out of control, ladies and gentlemen, so please watch what you feed your animals. Cut down on the chow. We'll continue. I'm glad we brought that. It's become maybe our public service message here on the show.
Not all applicants will